Okay, so here's a quick conversation about what happened in Miami, but more importantly, safety here where we're sailing, because we have our shoreline, we have our red and green channel markers, and this is a major shipping channel. So cargo ships and barges and military ships come through here frequently where we sail. And so what happened in Miami was that a Hobie cat, like what we sail on, was in the shipping channel, and there was less than 5 knots of wind, so they weren't able to sail. And it was a very busy day. There were lots of ships, lots of boats. It was a lot more crowded than it ever is here down in Miami. And a barge ran into the Hobie. They were in the shipping channel. The barge technically has right-of-way. Large ships like cargo ships, Navy vessels, and barges do have right-of-way even though you're under sail. So this was a very tragic situation when they couldn't get out of the way and they didn't see them in time to change their course. So what does that mean for us? When we're sailing Hobies, if we're in light wind conditions, we want to know when we're in a shipping channel, and we want to keep eyes on the horizon as a crew. And we always communicate, we learned this at sail school, we always communicate, hey, there's a cargo ship out there, because even though it may be far off, it doesn't take very long for it to get close. And if we need to, we immediately start to communicate, and this is something that did not happen in Miami. They didn't have a radio or an air horn on board. Whenever you sail, you have a radio or an air horn on board. If you were to be in a situation where the wind dies and you're adrift in a shipping channel, then you would make sure you access your air horn and your radio. Channel 16 is the shipping channel, so that you can communicate in case of an emergency or call for help in case of an emergency. That's very unlikely to happen because if there's low wind, we always sail closer to shore so that we can paddle back, swim back to shore. But it's not impossible that you could be out sailing, having fun, and the wind dies. In which case, you think to yourself, I need to be aware of my circumstances, and I need to be prepared to communicate if I need to communicate. The other way that this could have happened, tragically, is that the major barge was plowing along on course, and that the Hobie should have yielded to them, but thought, well, I'm fast and I can get across here quicker than they're going to get here. And this may be something, especially as you get confident in sailing, that you think. You see a cargo ship coming out of the port and you think, I've got plenty of time to cross the shipping channel before they get near. And some concerns about that way of thinking is they don't have to yield to you. And if there's an incoming tide, as you're crossing, you're not going to go straight across, you're going to drift in the direction of the tide. The same thing applies if there's an outgoing tide. You're not just going to shoot straight across, there's going to be a diagonal drift. So as you're out sailing, you want to be aware, what is the tide status? Is it running? Is it coming in? Because when we cross channels, as you've all experienced, sometimes instead of sailing straight across, you have a drift. And so that's an important point to consider when you're dealing with large vessels and you think, oh, I can just get from here to there and get out of his way. But as I go from here to there, is the tide going to be running or going and taking me in the direction of this large vessel? Ideally, what we do as a community is we avoid playing and goofing off in the shipping channel. We're always closer to shore than these channel markers. Sometimes we cross, but again, as a crew and as a skipper, we have an awareness of what's going on around us. So if we want to sail over to Redfish Point or we want to sail over to the island, we make sure that we have good wind, good tides, and we know what's going on around us. If you find yourself in a situation where you are head-to-head with a larger vessel, like a aircraft carrier, we don't have aircraft carriers, a Navy vessel, a cargo ship, or a barge coming or going, you have to get out of their way. And you want to be prepared to communicate on a radio and with an air horn, so you could ask your crew to help with that. We're not exactly sure what happened in Miami. It seems from the videos that they didn't have wind, and so they couldn't get out of their way, and they couldn't communicate. But we did want to talk about crossing the shipping channel, being aware of the tides running or going, and make sure that you knew that you don't have right of way. Even though you're under sail, they're larger vessels, significantly larger vessels. So it's our job to sail close to shore by the yacht club and have fun, but avoid goofing off and swimming, especially in the major shipping channels out there between the red and green channel markers. You guys are awesome sailors. You're aware of your surroundings, and you already exercise safety, always wearing a life jacket, always having a communication device, always having an air horn on board. But we just wanted to talk about it because this situation this week down in Miami was really tragic and probably could have been avoided with a little bit more preparation on the part of both ships, the sailboat and the ship. So if you have any questions, we'll talk about it, but we wanted to share this and point out that we do also sail in an area with large boats and how we can more safely cross and be in that area with those large vessels when they're out and about. All right, see you soon.